14 WILI and 95.3 FM presents Hometown Threads, a closer look at our community and the people that make it go. Every week, you'll hear uplifting stories from our local businesses and our neighbors. Now, here's our host for Hometown Threads, Keith C. Rice.
Welcome into episode 105 of Hometown Threads. I had to make sure Bruce didn't put anything in this mug here.
I did not. Nope.
Episode 105 of Hometown Threads on WILI 95.3 FM. Willimantic Today, Facebook, Spectrum 192, and a bunch of other platforms. But important note, you hear it first on the radio, and then you can go watch it wherever you want. Pops up on the Keith C. Rice Facebook page, and we'll eventually make it to my guest page if they accept my tag on Facebook, if they want. Anyway, on and on we go here. So we couldn't do Hometown Threads, by the way. Not Hometown Heroes. We talked about that last week, right, Matt? So many people go, hey, could you, Hometown Heroes? No, it's not Hometown Heroes. It's Hometown Threads. Brought to you by Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind, with 3 great local locations across the street from the station, 679 Main Street, Willimantic. To please my wife, it's 1703 West Main Street, where she works at Gateway Commons. A couple weeks ago, she caught one of the shows. She's like, you didn't say the address.
Oh, jeez.
She doesn't really talk like that.
She does wear the pants in your family.
I wear the shorts. Anyway. It's going to get off the tracks real fast. 679 Main Street, Willimantic, Liberty Bank, West Main Street at 1703 West Main Street, Gateway Commons, and Route 195, Mansfield. Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind. J. Matt Rupar, if you be so kind, say hello to the fine folks.
Hello.
Episode 105 of Hometown Threads on WILI Willimantic. And it's a pleasure to bring in a guy who I probably should have had on a long time ago. His last name is Hussey. No relation to, I just found this out not too long ago, no relation to the former police chief, Paul Hussey, another former guest on Hometown Threads. Bruce Hussey joins us from T&B Motors, Northeast Recyclers, and where's the place in Norwich?
Northeast Towing and Transport.
Northeast Towing and Transport.
Yep.
I just learned, I moved away for a bunch of years, so I'll use it as an excuse. But I kept thinking you were just T&B. And then I found out over the weekend, Northeast Recyclers. And now I just found out now, Northeast Towing and
Transport.
I won't forget by the end of the show.
You have to make sure everybody knows that's like technically really Michelle's shop.
Michelle, your wife.
I'm just allowed to go there and bask in her glory.
So, okay, Michelle is your lovely wife. You know, you run T&B. Explain all this, because there's 3 places. Then we have your daughter, Gia, over here.
Right, she's hiding.
Just say hi, Gia.
Hi.
Okay, so hopefully you heard her in Radio Land.
So, Michelle runs Northeast Towing in Norwich.
Okay.
I run Recyclers with obviously help. You know, Tommy Storage is down there. Everybody knows Tommy. He's been there forever. He came with the keys with the place.
Wow.
And T&B, I was started in 96, working there. And when we left to open up the junkyard, and then Michelle and I started the other business in Norwich. My sister and various family members, my mother and my father continued on with T&B.
I'm sorry, I got to back up. When did your parents start T&B?
They started T&B in, it had to be 79 or 81 or 80 or something like that. One of those years.
Feel free to look at your daughter for answers.
Well, I was hoping. I looked at her.
Shout out if he's incorrect.
I looked at her and I'm like, help me out here, Gia. That was a long time ago. It used to be a Texaco station up there.
A Texaco station?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it was a Texaco gas station.
All right, so your parents started it, correct?
Yes, they bought it. Previous Triumph dealership with a gas station, and then they started doing mechanical repair and then body work. And then they opened up Coventry Collision in Coventry, which is when I came in to run T&B. And then we split off again when I went to Willimantic in Norwich, and 3 years ago, Michelle and I bought T&B Motors from them.
Wow, this is kind of confusing here.
It's very confusing. It is. Try getting up in the morning and figure out where you're going to go.
Oh, boy. Well, we know it starts at Blondie's, right?
It
or
does.
That breakfast place.
It does. One of the two. Got to eat something every day.
We're very lucky to have a lot of great morning breakfast establishments around here.
But Michelle, as you know, raised in Mansfield.
That's right.
And our kids were raised in Mansfield. We used to live on Riverview in Mansfield up until, 5-6 years ago. And then we moved to another spot in Mansfield. And kids went to E.O. Smith and all the schools. And so we've been here forever.
So what you've done T&B for the most part, right? And then tell us about, All right, well, let's go back even further. You're not from Willimantic Wyndham. You're born and raised in Bolton, correct?
I was born in Manchester, moved to Bolton shortly thereafter, where my parents had a house. My father was kind of raised in Bolton in his later years, later adolescent years, I would say. So we moved right down the street from my grandparents, and I went to Bolton schools. And
so it's the businesses that were started by your parents that brought you pretty much into this area.
Absolutely. And then we were fortunate enough to be able to get down here and buy the junkyard, Northeast Recyclers, which was.
Tell us about now. When was that? Northeast Recyclers.
Had that for 15 or 16 years now. Okay. And it was good. Introduced us to a lot of people. The DeVivo brothers were great. They were great partners in what we did. They their trucks. Needing to have services, as far as towing and stuff like that, went hand in hand with us having a place to, dispose and get rid of and sell some of our products. And, everybody's been really good around here. We're all basically one big community of hopefully businesses cooperating together.
Absolutely.
That's the ultimate goal. We try to keep it local, as you would hope everybody does.
Yeah. We were all in this together, and that's why, I moved away for a bunch of years, but you may hear me say this on the show quite often. There's some kind of connection that at all the other places I've lived and done radio, and I'm not just saying this because it's my home area, but it's a very unique connection. We're all there. I feel like we all have each other's back.
Well, I think it's funny, too, that, when we were talking before, you start bringing up things, where'd you meet your wife? Did you ever go to Gil's Diner?
We talked about with Jay Hanfield last week. Jay Hanfield's naming all these old landmarks.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, all this stuff that just been in and around the area for forever.
And as I said, I moved away for 7.5 years, and you'd be surprised what you miss or what you got to get caught up on. And it's been almost 10 years since I've been back here. Marianne and I moved to Pennsylvania for a bunch of years, but we're still getting caught up on. Okay, so when did you move here? When did you buy that? And it's fun. That's another reason why I'm doing the show every week, to get, I'm glad I get to see you and your wife, and sometimes Gia joins us down at Music Bingo for Fenton on Tuesday nights, and that's where I got to, connect with you guys. And I'm not to really get off the subject, but Gia is getting married, and we'll be doing her wedding, DJing her wedding in August. Very excited about that.
Very excited.
So you're right, though. This area is one big happy family.
Yeah, and, I was talking with Maria the other day, who's, obviously Nick and Costas. Maria is Nick's wife. And
oh, right. Yeah, from the sports bar. Yep, yeah. I grew up at the Liapes.
And last year was our 15th Christmas party in a row held there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we going to be on the invite list for that
15. That's crazy.
Wait, your Christmas party?
Our company Christmas party has been held consecutively at the sports bar for 15 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
This will be year 16.
TMB. And, of course, speaking of TMB, back years ago when I had our sister station doing Wyndham Idol, the singing competition for Third Thursday, we called it the I-98.3 TMB Motor Stage, and I'm pleased to announce that starting actually next week is the first Third Thursday, we'll be bringing back the I-98.3 TMB Motor Stage with our sister station. We won't be doing a singing competition, but I'll be up on the stage with one of our DJs in the mix, and we'll be giving away free stuff too. So thank you for your partnership on that, Bruce. But let's talk about when you got started, when you took over the business for your parents at TMB. Did you know a lot about fixing cars and that kind of stuff? Talk a little about that.
Growing up in our family, you were always around mechanical stuff, and it just seemed to come naturally. To be honest with you, in the beginning, I wasn't even supposed to go to TMB. I was supposed to go to Coventry Collision, and my father said, "Let me go over there and get this running pretty smooth. You stay over here with Mom." And so I stayed with Mom, and Dad figured out that he had a lot of freedom over there at Coventry. So he decided to leave me and Mom up here for a while.
So how did it go with you and Mom at TMB?
It was. How does it go with me and you at TMB, Gia?
It's like the next generation here. Gia, why don't you come around here? Come around here. Get on your dad's. Can we do this, Matt, where she could slide in on Dad's mic over here? We'll just here. Why don't we just slide down?
Sure.
And
you tell me where to go.
Go slide down. We make some room here because we're including Gia in here, and
we have to include Gia. She thought she was going to escape this.
It's not all going to be Dad here. All right, you want to share Dad's mic? And
You're not.
is this mic going to work?
Yeah.
Live radio at its best, and of course, people watching this on video can see what we do here. Okay, so
it's a family thing.
It is a family thing.
It's always, Michelle and I have worked together for 20-something years. I don't know, how long has it been? 18 years with Mom and I?
Yeah.
Or 16? I don't even know what it's been, but it's an unusual dynamic when you go to work and then you come home and it's the same people that you just saw at work, you know what I mean?
I grew up in a family business,
Right.
And let me tell you, and that's another thing about Hometown Threads. I can't, and Matt could vouch for this, I can't recall the number of people I've had in here, and that's another great thing about this community. There's so many family businesses, and I think it's fantastic. So, getting back to the family business, you got to admit, it gets a little tense at home sometimes. You don't want to bring work home with you. My father was always like that. I'd go home, back in my early 20s, I'm like, Dad, we got to do this. You got to change this. He'd look at me and go, I'm not talking about work. And he would turn it off. And I don't know how he did it. And my mother, who used to sell advertising as well, we've sometimes had my father's throat. He wanted nothing to do with it. So are you guys kind of like that, being in a family business where do you know how to turn it off, or is somebody, your mom, or say, I'm not talking about it?
Most of the time, we try, as far as Michelle and I go, to not get involved in things at all when we get home. Now, if it was a particularly bad day, or something has to be talked about, then we will. Usually, right about the time I'm getting ready to head out to breakfast in the morning is when Michelle will hit me with something and say,
the women always do that. Why do they? I'm kidding. It's a joke.
She goes, make sure you, do whatever or something like that. And I can tell she's been chewing on it since yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, I can tell it's been...
Did you ever say, why'd you bring that up yesterday?
And she'll go, because I don't want to talk about work. When we just got home from
very
work.
Good, very good.
Right? But I'm telling you, I'm conditioned. By 6:55 in the morning, I need to be on the road because we're talking coffee, eggs, like I said, we got to go somewhere and grab some food. So it's a routine. It is. And that's when Michelle will want to talk about what she didn't want to talk about the night before. Now, Giovanna and I will have our little moments.
Okay.
And typically she'll realize every single time that she's wrong. And at that point, she usually tries to come upstairs on her way out the door to tell me that, it was her fault.
Yeah. All the time.
So now tell us Giovanna's role. Is it G or Giovanna? What would you rather go by?
Either one.
Either one? Tell us your role within the family business here. What do you do at T&B, right? Are you involved with the other companies too? Or?
I have my foot in a little bit of everything, but for the most part, I do all the admin work as well as like paying people and hiring, all that stuff.
Is this the future, or is she is this gonna be the next generation, or
ultimately,
or does Giovanna have other plans as far as what she wants to do? Maybe I should ask Giovanna that. Is this something you...
And then ask me.
Yeah, I know. We might have different answers.
I don't want to make this awkward here. I mean, do you, I know you enjoy helping your family. I can see that.
Yeah, I'm there for as long as they want me there.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it was not something that Michelle and I had thought about, having our kids come into the family. They both kids did their separate things. Brucey's graduating from college.
About to say,
in 2 weeks.
There's another sibling, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I always forget. So Bruce is younger than you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's he going to end up doing? Is he going to help out?
Well, he's in college for graduating for business analytics, so...
There you go.
Who knows what he's going to do. But, we never really thought Gia would be involved, and then all of a sudden things just turned around.
Did she come to you, or you kind of put her into the business? Or?
I'm not sure how it worked out. I think we both needed each other.
Yeah.
So it was kind of...
For sure.
Kind of a family thing, like, come on down, and, she's really good at running the... the Facebook and the
Very
Indeed.
good.
At this point, everybody's always looking for help. So we're constantly doing Indeed things.
You guys hiring by any chance?
And we're always hiring, like, for a different... It might not be in this area. It might be one of the other shops. It might be, our need might be up here in Mansfield, or it might be in Norwich, or it might be in Willimantic. You never know where the need is going to arrive.
Because if there's stuff, and we're going to get to this eventually with all three places, if there's anything you guys need to plug or hit at any time during the show with TMB, Northeast Recyclers, and Northeast Towing and Transport.
You got it.
Oh, I can't just think there's two Northeast there. If there's anything you guys want to, any message you want to send across, well, you can do it right now if you want. Is there any specific place you want to mention that you're hiring? any role, any I know you're involved with the admin. The social media aspect.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, as far as hiring, I feel like right now we're actually pretty good.
All three places.
I talked to Joe this morning at Northeast. He's kind of the towing manager for that particular shop, and he said that he's going to be looking for another full-time heavy-duty CDL driver down there, and we hired some people at T&B. We filled some voids up there. So, but these staffing things are constantly evolving and changing. So that's why it's always a on your toes thing, and you tend to have people come in and, if they're looking for a job, it's nice if they come in and fill out an application, and that's on file. And if we have a need arise, because there are certain things that happen with people.
I like what you just said there too. Come in and fill out an application. A lot of this stuff is, let's face it, most of it's done online.
Yeah.
But to come in and see you guys and meet you guys face to face.
We prefer 100% that you come in and talk with us.
Right. I think that's the right way to go. I mean, it's old school, but it's also, I think, you want to see who you may hire. I mean, not that if somebody who applies online, you're not going to eventually meet them. But I mean, it all shows that person's coming down because they're serious about
right. Well, depending on their job, they have to. You have no idea what kind of if it's somebody that's going to be out front with the public, or if it's somebody that's going to be in a service van or something like that, helping somebody change their battery.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to have a certain level of salesmanship to them. And make people feel at ease. They have to make people feel, feel safe. That's a big thing with people nowadays.
I've always felt very safe around you, Bruce.
But you want people to. You don't want people to come off as there's people who don't communicate well with other people.
Right. Absolutely.
And those are the people that you don't want to put in those particular positions. But that guy might be great as a technician working on a car. Or something like that. That's why you want to meet the person and kind of. I'll tell you a story. We just hired somebody that applied for a completely different job, and we put him into a completely other job because we knew where we felt that the position that he applied for was not a place where he could fulfill his potential. So we talked him into doing something else, and it was a great fit.
See?
So.
It all comes down to just taking the initiative and coming down and meeting you face to face. I think that goes beyond words. Bruce Hussey, daughter Gia from T&B Motors, Northeast Recyclers, and Northeast Towing and Transport. I'm getting much better. Our guest for episode 105 of Hometown Threads on WILI 95.3 FM, Spectrum 192, and Willimantic Today Facebook, brought to you by Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind, and of course our podcast at WILI.com. Big shout out to Mark Tripoli and Tripoli Pro Clean Services. Talk a little about either one of you about you guys really help out the community as far as
community stuff that we try to be involved in. Obviously, local sports teams. Both of our kids played, in local sports around here, whether it was the Mansfield Little League. We did Coventry Youth Football because Mansfield at that point had merged with Coventry, and both Michelle and I coached. Michelle coached softball, I coached football.
I didn't know you guys both coached.
Coached
nice.
baseball. We're old school, man.
It's weird. I've been seeing these guys every week at the music bingo thing, and more and more you find out. I know you guys are huge sports fans too. Yeah. So what did Giovanna grow up playing, and did Bruce play too?
Yeah, Bruce actually played in college football.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So other stuff, like if a town, we've had Town of Mansfield calls. Hey, we got this thing that we want to put up for the kids at the playground. But they're saying that we need to have a crane. Is that something you guys can help us with? Absolutely. We went there and we picked it up for them. And touch of trucks. We were very active during COVID when people would call or send us a note and say, hey, it's COVID, it's my kid's birthday. They would love it if you could come by and just stop in and just beep your horns with the tow trucks.
That is awesome.
And my guys got totally kicked off on that. They were just like, at one point,
I remember that.
There was like 15 trucks going to, somebody's house and tearing up their whole neighborhood with giant air horns.
Was that
and
on
stuff.
social media? Or I think I've ever seen something like that. Yeah, great job of that.
So, we've, like I said, we're part of the community. Our kids are raised here. We try to do whatever we can, whenever we can, and try to, work with whoever. We do stuff, the Brew Fest. Obviously, last year
that's coming up.
Yeah,
Hop Fest,
last
right?
year last year we gave Dave, pallets of water for that. We had Ben, the artist that paints everything.
Ben Keller, who just was at the River Room this past
We provided Ben with a full trailer up there that he painted. That kid's fantastic, by the way.
And I missed the River Room show over the weekend, but he did this big canvas thing. So you have a connection with Chris Beaudry, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Chris Beaudry's parents were Cookie, who worked at the school.
Really?
And then Butch used to take care of our welding. We used to work on his trucks. We used to work on Cookie's car. They're Mansfield people. They're right down the street on 195.
Sure.
And I was in Fenton River Grill the other night, and it was like Chris walks up. He goes, "Hey, Bruce, how you doing? I haven't seen you in forever." And I'm looking at him going, "Who is this kid?" He's like, "Oh, it's Chris Beaudry." And I'm like, I'm like, wait a minute, Butch and Cookie? That Chris?
Boy, has he done a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, not just starting the River Room, but he's another one. And we may go a little over here. I apologize, Matt and Ernie Eldridge. But, he's really, just he moved away like me. But he went to NYU, really got plugged in with a lot of the big-time jazz blues concert scene. He's a Mansfield guy.
Yeah,
so
I've always wished I could play some kind of an instrument. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time.
So is there anything else in these closing minutes here? I know I told you 25 minutes before you could blink. Is there anything any of you guys want to mention about the businesses that you guys want to, get any message you want to send across?
I think if they stop by T&B, they'll see Gia's smiling face, and we try to take care of the customers up there like we always have. We're back in town again. We're back to being.
Can't miss them. Right there on Route 185 on your way to Yukon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Gia's there, and Michelle's usually
Michelle's in Norwich.
Michelle's in Norwich at the Northeast Recyclers.
Yeah, and I'm driving around in circles.
You're driving between all three, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
T&B Motors in Mansfield.
Yeah.
Northeast Recyclers in Wyndham. Northeast
Towing and Transport in Norwich. Next time we got to give him a script. All right.
But thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Great to have you on, and great to we got Gia in here too because she's part of the business. It's another family business here, very successful businesses, I should say. So thank you so much for coming in for episode 105 of Hometown Threads, brought to you by Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind. And thank you to J. Matt Rupar behind the board. And that'll do it for episode 105. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And in the words of the great Roddy McCumber,
bye for now, folks. Bye for now.
And that concludes another edition of Hometown Threads. Got a story for Keith? Reach out to him on Facebook by searching Keith C. Rice or email him at krice@hallradio.net. Don't forget to tune in next week on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM, as well as the Willimantic Today page on Facebook.